Hello there, this is Vic Benedict. We're playing Max Payne 3. Sorry about that. Max Payne 3 on old school difficulty without using any restorative items. We're currently on chapter 6 and I just want to make sure that my voice recorder is going so that when I exit out I don't see that it's paused and ruining the whole session. So what I tried to do over here, you guys, in an effort to make this really entertaining, was to do some live commentary, but the voice recorder for Windows 10, it pauses when you run other software, and the problem is exacerbated by, I probably said that wrong, but it's exacerbated by the fact that I can't run this program except in a maximized state. So if I could run it in like windowed mode, then I think the voice recorder would actually not pause when I exited, or not. It's not when I'm exiting. There's the first clue. It's some emails, and then the second clue is on the desk right behind it, and I'm not sure what it is. It's, what is it, the folder of the pictures inside of a folder, and then the next one will be the architectural models coming up. And I can't do live commentary. I'm gonna have to find some other program to do it, but I don't think I will, because this isn't a channel where live commentary is done very frequently. So some of these encounters on this chapter, I asked on Steam about why my game keeps crashing, and wow, somebody was telling me my video card's overclocked, and it's not. I never overclocked my card. I bought it from the manufacturer, and it doesn't come overclocked, and it's not overclocked like the frame rate. Sometimes it says that this game is running like 3,000 frames per second, and maybe it is during the menus, but it does run at 60 frames, and I'm not straining my software or my video card. So somebody also was asking, why are you leaving your game idle? And the answer to that is, I'm just stopping my session and going to the bathroom, you know, taking my dog outside, getting some water, doing other stuff, and coming back. Sometimes even 2 minutes later, and I come back and I can hear audio on the software but no video. So like this next section, look, I had 2 Uzis, a shotgun. It's after this section. After this section, I had, I don't know what they are, two SMGs, a shotgun. And then on the next section, you'll see that all I have is 1 SMG. And the reason was, you probably could guess it, I left the session and I came back and everything was a black screen. So all I can do in that instance is press the X key to get out and restart the software, go back to the checkpoint I need. And they only start you with 1 SMG when you restart from any particular checkpoint. So it's pretty bad, and other people might say, why do you tolerate that? And the reason is because I want the ultimate experience. The ultimate experience. I've got it. Okay, here's that sequence that I was talking about. I'm having to come back at nighttime to do this commentary because it's so hot. And if you were following this video, I hope that you saw what I had when I came into this particular room. This is the next checkpoint. I had a shotgun and 2 SMGs. Now I just have 1 SMG because I just came back into the checkpoint from the level select, and just, you know, when you jump back in, you get whatever they give you, whether it's just 1 SMG or 1 hand pistol or whatever. So as much as it was a hardship, an irritating piece of business, at least it gives you guys some confidence that you can jump back into these checkpoints with relative confidence, that you can do these sequences with whatever default weapon they give you. Now, I can't speak for the final boss. I think the final boss is going to be really challenging. And the Seraphim 17 was mentioning to me that there is a definitive answer to what I was speculating in the first video, namely, what's harder, this difficulty or hardcore? And obviously, if you play hardcore, like 1 hit, it takes up like 3/4 of your blood bleed out on your character on the profile on the bottom right. And I would tend to agree with that. But what I was thinking about when I said that sentiment and I responded to him, luckily I got his message, because YouTube doesn't notify people anymore with their messages. They're really doing a great job over there in San Jose at Google headquarters. I was basically thinking to myself when I said that sentiment in video 2 that I don't know what's harder, this difficulty without healing or hardcore with healing. And obviously it's very simple in this game to whore these medicines, the pain medicine that you get, and just, you know, stack them up. You can get up to 9, and that was what I was saying. And obviously if you play hardcore without any revives, that's where it really is going to be fucking horribly difficult, and I don't think I want to do that, to be honest. I don't know if I can. So I just decided to do this difficulty because I kind of like the name, and people were wanting me to do it when I did hardcore. So I'm trying to make everything. Do you see how he carries a shotgun? I have played enough of the Max Payne's. Well, I shouldn't say that. How long did I play? I bought Max Payne 1 and I played it for like 5 minutes. I'm horrible with just dismissing games, and I know that, you guys. I'm pretty bad. Pretty bad. You don't even play games, you fucking Bick Benedict fucking queer. And this guy, oh my god, this guy was it's funny how you don't get comments from the people that you approve of on YouTube, but these trolls. This guy was calling me a queer and calling me just a bunch of expletives and stuff, and saying that I shouldn't be ridiculing like Metal Gear Solid 5 and things like that. And then I listened back to the video, and all I said was that it's really not my type of a game, and I don't want to get it. What the hell? And then he pointed out that, oh, you covered Ground Zeroes, and Ground Zeroes is closed world in my opinion. And I just bought that it was a fluke during last Christmas for $5 fucking. So it's just amazing that you get these notifications from these fucking trolls, and yet I have a lot of people, including the Seraphim 17, in my approved messages, you know, on the community settings. So everybody's messages, they come through. And I also want to give another shout out to Hado, because when I put him on my boxed channels, he was saying to me that he thinks he doesn't deserve it because he's not as good as the Godfather Dictator or the Seraphim 17 or me or anything like that. And dude, it's not about that whatsoever. If you're on my box channels, it's not because you're special or you're good, it's because you're hardworking, and that's why you're on there. So it's not about being good or bad or anything. It's about, you have 75 subscribers and you've made almost 700 fucking videos. There's no justice to that, man. No justice. So on these heavies, you've got to shoot them in the helmet as much as possible. There's one heavy here and 2 guys flanking to the left and to the right. And after this, we'll head back to the elevator. And which clue are we on here?
It looked like we had seen the worst of it. The elevator would take me back up to Rodrigo's office where we could wait the rest of the hour.
I think all we have left is that dead IT guide to have for the clue. So when you go into the elevator, I'll be trimming this out. What I was saying a minute ago was I've played enough of the Max Paynes, even though I haven't. I'm bad about games. To know that when he holds the shotgun a certain way, I think they retain those animations of him walking with the shotgun a certain way. I remember that from playing the game. He has a very stiff and noticeable posture. But as you can see, we're in a fiery hellhole here, and I was just reading a story earlier by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I used to be big on reading, and for years I just haven't even read. I mean, here and there I'll read, but I was reading this this novel that I tweeted about on my Twitter called Jacob's Ladder, and no, it's not the movie with Tim Robbins, which I don't think I've ever seen, but it's the short story by Fitzgerald in his collection of stories. And I couldn't figure out why it was called Jacob's Ladder. And then I looked up Jacob's Ladder because as much as I couldn't remember what it was, I should have, because I've read the entirety of Thomas Mann's Joseph and His Brothers, which is about 1,500 pages, back in 2005, I think it was, when I read that book. So I should have known, but I just forgot because, let's face it, that was 10 years ago. But it's something that I can't discuss right now because this chapter's almost over. But Jacob's Ladder, so far as I gathered, is a metaphor for not so much a direct path to God, but sort of a communicative, how do you say that fucking word? Communicative inroad to him, where it's possible to maybe commune with him and understand heaven a little bit and aspire to heaven, but it's not like a direct path to heaven. And the character in the book, he was always a spectator in this woman's life. And if you want to do me a favor, read Jacob's letter. If you want to know that, I'll put the link in the video if anybody asks. But it's a pretty short story. You can finish it in about 2 sittings. And I came to the realization that the character, he always aspired after the woman. He didn't value things. Excuse me. He cared about things, but he didn't care about them enough to the point where he valued things far more than he actually legitimately cared about. And I think that his ascension to heaven was barred because of that character trait. And it's not really that he was, you know, banned into like a hellish kind of dark pit in his own psyche, but it was more that he was always denied happiness, spectating upon happiness, if you will. And I know nobody's going to understand that, but it really resonated. I've read it twice now, and it just makes me cry. It's so good. Take care.